shields. We've been talking a lot about non-Newtonian fluids where they can move, they can change, as well as polymers. And today we're going to continue that trend. Again, safety first when you are experimenting, which means we need our safety goggles on. And guess what today we're doing? We're making homemade bouncy balls, which is really cool because, hey, sometimes it takes a lot to get a bouncy ball out of one of those quarter machines. So today we're going to continue again to make some bouncy balls. So I'm going to try and demonstrate. This does work better when you do it on a carpeted surface, but it will bounce. If you can see there, I just knocked everything down from the bouncy ball bouncing. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to do this experiment. I do have to use instructions so that I make sure that I am doing this right. So I may be looking down at that. Also, remember, you do not want to eat any of this because it is not eatable. You don't want to eat the glue. You don't want to eat the borax and all that we're going to be using. So today, what you do need to make a bouncy ball is some glue. Today, I am using some colored glue, so you won't need any food dye. But if you would like to just use normal glue, you can always get food dye and dye it to a different color that you want to use. Also, you're going to need water, but this time we're going to need warm water. So that's a little bit different than some of the other experiments we're doing. It's also nice to have 2 cups that you don't really need in the future. So one is going to be our borax solution and the other one is going to be the ball mixture solution today. And we're going to start and create our bouncy ball. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to label the one borax solution, and again, you want to label the other one as the ball mixture, and we want warm water, which I do not have, so I'm going to get warm water here really quick. Turn this over to warm. All right. And what you want for this is 4 ounces of warm water, which is what we've got there. And we also want to pour that into the borax solution cup. So we're going to stick the 4 ounces of water into the borax solution cup. All right. And now we are going to add the borax in. And how much borax do we need today? We're going to need a tablespoon of borax. Excuse me, a teaspoon of borax. So I'm going to get my borax here because I had moved it because we're going to use cornstarch today too. So this is kind of combining all of them together. Remember, our first experiment only used cornstarch, then we used borax and glue, and now we're going to combine that all together. We're going to use cornstarch, borax, and glue for this experiment. So we're going to get some of that, and we are going to stick it in the cup that is labeled borax. All right, and then we want to mix it up with a spoon. Need some music for this, right? Do, 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 mixing, mixing. Check out how cute this glass is since it has sunshine on it. All right, so we have to make sure that this is going to dissolve, so you really want to make sure you get that done. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a tablespoon of glue into the labeled cup that is called ball mixture. And again, this would be the time if you want to use food coloring, this is the time that you're going to want to do that. But we already have bought glue that is colored. So we're going to take this and I'm going to clean it off since I stuck it in a bowl with stuff in it. Always make sure you have clean stuff ready to go. And we're going to add that in here. So this may take a little bit because we are literally going to stick glue in here. And it takes a little while for it to go. And it's really fun, and all these experiments really don't take a lot of time, so you could always do these experiments all together since you're using all of the same things. And again, you can use everything that is at your house, which is really cool because none of this really takes much of anything else other than stuff you can find in your own home. So again, this is going into the ball mixture. We want a tablespoon of glue. Unfortunately, today we have a half a tablespoon, so we got to do it twice, but you will only be doing this once. Get that glue in there. And this is, again, polymers. So it is going to change. And remember, with the oobleck, it really oozed through our fingers. And then when we made the slime, it stayed a little bit slimy for a while, you know, before it would ooze. And in this sense, this time, it's going to be a little bit harder and it's going to stay a little bit longer because of the fact that we are making it the cornstarch is going to be added to make it a little bit thicker. So once we get the glue into the cup ball mixture, and again, if you want to add food coloring, you would do that at this time, then we're going to add a half a teaspoon of the borax solution you just made and put that with a tablespoon of cornstarch and glue. So we're going to add cornstarch to this. So I'm going to get into our cornstarch. It's a tablespoon of that. And we're going to mix this together. I'm going to use the back of another spoon. And I think we may need a little more in the way of glue. All right. Now we're going to add this mixture in. And it's really cool because we're going to let this kind of basically allow it to do its thing. So we're going to wait like 15 minutes before we actually, I mean, not 15 minutes, 15 seconds. That would be a long time. We're going to wait 15 seconds to let these interact together. So we're going to put this in here and let that interact, and it's going to change. And then we can kind of form it into its ball shape, and we're going to end up with something like this, which is the bouncy ball. Whoop! And it just bounced right into the cup. So that, you know, science. Sometimes things work out, sometimes things don't. So we accidentally put the bouncy ball into our mixture that we're trying to mix up. So we wait about 15 seconds. And I think we should wait maybe a little bit longer here, and we can try and get this solution out. And then basically what you're going to do with this solution is you're going to mold it in your hands, and you're going to just mix it together and really get it so that it turns into like this ball solution that we have. So we drop some on the ground. Again, the cornstarch acting as the polymer that's keeping this together. And again, eventually it does turn into a ball form. Now, don't worry if you let your ball sit for a day and you don't use it. Eventually, it is going to flatten out because, again, remember, these are non-Newtonian, which means if it's not being touched or force is not being acted upon it, you're not bouncing it, it will eventually flatten out. But once that does that, you just have to roll it again and it will turn right back into this. And the elasticity in the ball should last at least a couple days until you wear that out. So again, we've created our ball here, and you can bounce it. You can see that this one bounces just like this one does, and we've created it. Again, if you'd like to keep it for a couple days, it's great. You just stick it in a baggie and it will keep, but it will flatten out. All you have to do is just roll your hands over it and put it into a ball again, and anytime you're bouncing it, it will stay in the ball shape until you let it sit for a couple days. So let's take a look again at the science behind this. Again, polymers, giant molecules, they're flexible, and that's what we like about them. That's how we can make these bouncy balls. You know what else is used to make a bouncy ball other than borax and cornstarch and glue? You can make it with plastic, and plastic is also a polymer, so keep that in mind. We add the cornstarch again to keep it together, and these are all non-Newtonian substances, which means they change with force and not heat. So once again, thank you for joining Science with Shields. If you make bouncy balls, let me know how far they bounce, and make sure to send in some pictures. And that spoon just flipped. All right, have a great day.